Hello again, everyone. This is Joe Hinch as we be on the chart, and this is technical analysis of the stock market today. Today is Saturday, November 1st. Happy November, everyone. And we're going to take a look at the market like we usually do. It's a weekend edition, so we're going to look at daily and weekly. And in this case, we're going to also glance at some monthly charts. Then we're going to take a look at our indicators, ETFs, and then look at 4 casino stocks. Okay, so now let's start off with the Dow Industrials. The Dow has gone straight up over the last 12 days. It was up 195 points yesterday, and pretty substantial, just straight line rally almost. And I think most people are fairly well stunned by the depth and breadth of the move. It clearly invalidates the scenario that we had playing out here of a first move to the downside, because this has now gone to a slightly higher high. So what's going on? This move now to the downside here is now best labeled as a complex ABC zigzag, and it actually ended up being an ABC WXY is what it ended up being based on the wave count that was in here. So now we've got this move to the upside. So what's playing out? The Dow has actually been fairly hard to read and seems to be continuing trying to confound everybody in terms of what it's actually doing. I am still sticking with the fact that we are trying to complete a fifth wave of a fifth wave, and I do think this is an overall B move. Let's look back at the weekly chart just to show you why I'm thinking what I'm thinking. So, I still think right now that we're trying to complete this C intermediate wave, okay? And this is C ABC, or this is ABC of WXY, again, complex, but this is a B wave. And the reason it's a B wave is because that complex, that move that came down off of 2007, I believe, was an A wave, a 3-wave A wave, an ABC 3-wave down. After we completed the top here in 2007, and we completed the top. This is a let me zoom back out of this so you know what I'm talking about. Okay, I'm going to zoom all the way out. So this is the total picture, and when you look at this from 1932 low, we've had 5 impulsive waves up, and I believe that based on the way these waves played out, the alternate scenario, I now think that wave 5 completed up here, but this is also wave 5 of a grand supercycle, wave 5. When we talk about grand supercycle, we're talking about 5 waves from the start of the United States of America, basically, at the start of this country, the birth of our country. And I think we've had 5 major waves up. And so now we're starting this corrective action up here. But we're talking about corrective action with wildly swinging moves. Now, here's the other thing I want to point out is I've talked about this broadening top before. And broadening tops are typically bearish. Well, it's kind of interesting. The other thing about broadening tops is they usually occur at the end of very large moves. Well, we just had a very large move from 1932, and we're now getting this big broadening top up here as the market is topping out. And what's another characteristic of broadening top? Wild, big swinging moves, okay, on a lot of volume. Well, that's kind of what we've been seeing. Well, the other interesting point, let me zoom back in up here, and we'll come back if we have to. We'll jump back and forth if we need to. The other thing that's going on, and I'll show you this on multiple levels, is the fact that we are getting what looks like a potential broadening top that's developing, and I'm seeing it in numerous places. I'm going to show you what this is. And let's put out like here. Okay, I'm trying to extend that line. And then, of course, this line right here has already kind of got that. So you've got 1, 2, 3, 4, a 5th point. Does it have to go up to the trend line? No, it does not have to. It just has to exceed the high here. Now, in a classic broadening top, when the top's in is when this low is broken. Okay, and then typically what will happen is it'll break that and then it'll pull back maybe 30-40% or so and then roll back over again. So that will be something to watch for. I'll be watching up here on this. Let me get out of here. So right now, I think the market has the potential to either stop right where it's at, or it could push for several more 100 points. It could push up beyond this. There's nothing that says it has to stop here. Let's take a look at the S&P 500. Same thing. Here's this broadening top on the S&P 500. New York Composite. We're not getting that, but again, we had this 5 waves down, which is a little clearer than what we were seeing in the Dow. And now we're right at the 78.6% retracement on this. So again, it's going to be interesting to see, do we just stop right here or do we continue pushing up like the rest of the indices have? Not making any predictions. I mean, the thing we got to remember when we're trying to lay out scenarios like this and with the market, we are never dealing with certainties. Okay. And so I remember, it's interesting. I remember years ago, as I was learning about the market and I was trying to get it, I was always frustrated because people would always talk about, well, there's an alternate count, or if this doesn't work, it could be this. And I was like, well, how can that be? Why isn't it just this scenario? And isn't this the scenario that should be working? And it must be this, right? If you're talking about that, there is never any certainty when it comes to the market. And so you have to always, lay out a scenario that you think might be the most probable scenario, but then you're always looking to say, okay, as the market evolves, how do I adjust? Okay, what's going on? What is the market now telling me? Okay, every day the market is telling you something new, something different, and you have to learn to adjust and react. And, the classic thing that comes to mind is I remember reading in, the Market Wizards book back in the late 80s or early 90s. Can't remember when it first came out. And the guy commented when he was interviewing Paul Tudor Jones, and he commented that, well, I just interviewed him like a week or two ago, and he was a raving bull, and then now he's a raving bear, and he's like, it was amazing how quick he's willing to switch. Well, that's exactly what you have to be able to do. I mean, the market's going to tell you different things at different times, and it's never going to be the same. So right now we're just trying to assess what's going on. Is this a new rally? And, and here's the other thing. If this is the first leg of some new kind of wave to the upside, which I'm still very skeptical on, I mean, you're going to get a pullback of some kind to some degree, probably like a 50% retracement or something. And so we've got to be aware of that and watch for that. The NASDAQ, here's a move, went to the high side. You can also draw a broadening top on the NASDAQ. Let's see here. And, maybe not quite as clear. And again, the broadening top is never confirmed until it breaks down below the 4th point. Okay. Now, what am I talking about? 4th point. We're talking 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Again, this doesn't have to go all the way to the top of the trend line. It's just got to be higher than this point, and that's what it just did here on Friday. So let's go back and look at a weekly chart. We looked at this again. So back to the scenario, focusing on what it could be doing on a wave basis. This could be an expanding diagonal now, looking at the fact that we had 3 waves in here, 3 waves in here, kind of 3 waves up here, kind of a complex 3 waves. This almost could be an ABC 1, 2, 3. Okay. I mean, let's face it. This was very complex and very confusing. It's almost like it tried to do it here, then broke down, tried to do it again, then broke down, and now is doing it one more time. Let's look at the weekly on the S&P 500. Okay, now we look at this. We're still getting divergences. Have the divergences been canceled? Not that I can see. If you look at this, has the blue line go a little bit higher? Not really. I mean, it hasn't yet. It might, but it hasn't yet. So we're just going to have to, keep monitoring it. New York Composite on a weekly basis. This one, again, went a lot further down than most people had talked about. and and versus the other indices. We are still this like here. We're not getting. This did not go to a new high. We're not getting any invalidation of this move here either. There's no. It hasn't moved to a new high. Let's see. I think that's it. I want to take a look at now the Dow on a monthly basis. This is a hanging man, pretty clear hanging man. But again, a hanging man's really not confirmed until you get the next bar down. Well, that's next month. That's month of November. So it's something to be aware of. From what I understand, it's not the most reliable candlestick thing. So it's just something to be aware of. I'm not sitting there hanging my hat on the fact that, oh my gosh, we got a hanging man, we're going down. That's not what I'm saying. So here's the play out on the monthly chart. Let's take a look at it on a monthly basis. The whole wave count. I mean, this is the way we're playing out as far as I could tell. And that's the scenario I'm living with. And we'll just have to see. This is it's just looking like it just fits the picture so much better. All right, let's see. What I'm looking for is the other monthly charts here. I am looking for the SPX. There we go. I don't think these are going to tell me a whole lot other than the fact that we're getting some divergence. We're still, the divergence hasn't been canceled on the monthly basis. The New York Composite monthly, again, the divergence hasn't been canceled. The divergence is still in play. And the NASDAQ monthly, NASDAQ weekly, there it is. It's right on it. Same thing, same type of picture, and same type of picture with the divergence that's there. It hasn't been canceled. It hasn't been broken. It's not yet anyway. Okay, I think that's it. We kind of looked at all the indices. Let's take a look at the short-term trading index. And this has started to drop down in terms of the 10-day. So, because we've gotten some bullish reading yesterday on it. So the 10-day is starting to drop down 1.01. Still not down in that extreme reading category. Same thing with the VIX. The VIX, I thought maybe this was getting a little bit of divergence. It's very close, but not quite. So it's getting tighter. You see how the range is getting a little bit tighter in here. So that's something to keep an eye on. And I just realized, I'll go to the high-low, and then I realized I wanted to show one other thing here. Okay, this is interesting. You see how this high-low has really popped up here now in terms of the net new 313. And I kind of glanced back to see, well, where else did it do it? Where it came from that far, almost going coast to coast, kind of going way up here from way down here. And it actually did it in June of 2013. When I go to June of 2013, it came from down below the minus 500, and it came up to a reading high here of 263 net. And it did it, that was on July 11th. And how many days is that? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 days. So same exact 12 days that we went from here to here, it actually got a little bit higher. It got to plus 363. But the move that happened on those 12 days is not nearly, we go back to June. Here it is. It's from here to here, okay? And so we got that big expansion, almost the same expansion of the new highs, new lows, net new highs, new lows, as we got with this move, okay? So I'm not sure what that's telling me. It's interesting to note it. It could be telling us that maybe we got the expansion on the new highs, new lows, and that's all we're getting. Or maybe we're going to get, because we got the same expansion, the same number of days, we just got more more points here to show for it. And so does that just mean that we're close to topping out? I don't know. But it's just something that, just another one of those things, another arrow you put in your quiver, you just kind of go, let's, another data point to just kind of munch on and just trying to think about as we start to put all this together. And the other thing I wanted to show you is when we're talking about this move, okay, this move right in here. And we're really kind of looking, because this should be a series of kind of 3 waves. So is this 3 waves up? And so if we look at, I think I got this in here. Okay, this is on an hourly chart going from the low to the high. It looks to me like we've gotten 3 waves to this point. Now, does it mean we can't get more and get a 5-wave move? Yeah, we could. But I'm just saying, I'm just looking, watching, trying to figure out, does that make sense? What's happening here, on an hourly, or even if you go 30 minutes, even less easy to read. So just another data point to pay attention to. So we'll have to see whether or not this, on an ending diagonal, a lot of times it peters out before it even gets to this line. So we could be close, or we could be pushing for a few more 100 points, and we'll just have to continue to watch. So this is the best scenario that I've come up with in terms of the Dow, sticking with it. And the reason why I'm talking about that is because that helps stay with this overall scenario of being a B wave and having completed and done 3 waves down for an A, then doing a B, which means we're going to roll over and do C. And if that's the case, C is always 5 waves. Okay, so that means you'll have 5 waves down in terms of C, and it will come down to at least this point, and many times go beyond. So that's the scenario we'd be looking for if we're playing out with this being a B wave after this being the top of the bull run for the last century. Okay, so now let's take a look at, did we look at the ETFs? No, I think we missed that. Let me come back to that. Where are they? Oh, here we go. Semiconductors. That's the other thing that's interesting. Look at the semiconductors. They're doing a broadening top type thing too. Now they haven't gotten all the way up here. And when I say this, this is also playing out on the semiconductor stocks. Okay, when I started looking at some of these semiconductor stocks, they're doing a broadening top formation. And I'm going to show you another one here in a minute, if I can remember. Okay, the next one is home builders, which this is kind of interesting. It is it is still not gotten out of a lower highs and lower lows. Okay, so this has still not taken out this high, okay, here of August 25th. And the financial index, financial ETF. This also looks like it's doing a broadening top. And again, it's not confirmed till this point gets taken out down here, okay? It's just, a broadening top is kind of like a head and shoulders with a very weak neckline and a right shoulder that goes beyond the head. And again, it doesn't have to go to the line. All it has to do is go higher than this point to confirm it. This is kind of an interesting little doji bar shooting up here, almost like a little bit of a shooting star. And it's going to be interesting to see whether this turns into an evening star type thing or whether there's continuation with it. All right, that's the ETFs. There's no extreme reading on the CBOE equity put to call. Okay, the other thing, and I'm going to close the loop on this broadening top discussion. I want to look at Facebook real quick. And I'm going to show you what I saw. And I know I'm talking about Facebook again, I think Monday night. But Facebook is also doing a broadening top. Okay, now it's not as big. But it was kind of interesting that before the earnings came out, I had drawn these lines and I thought, this is pretty interesting. But I wasn't getting a setup that I could go to the downside. And then sure enough, it broke to the downside. And this is doing this broadening top. And so I'm seeing it in numerous places. So that's what's starting to make me think that something may be happening. If we're getting a broadening top now within a 14-year broadening top, I think that's kind of interesting in terms of the coincidence. And all right, let's jump in and take a look at the stocks. We're going to look at Las Vegas Sands. Las Vegas Sands is doing a broadening formation, but it's not a top. So I'm actually a little bit puzzled by this. I'm thinking that it's going to continue to the downside. We got in on the trade idea when it broke, after this closed below the 10 in here, and it's kind of fought us for the last couple of days. I will be lowering my stop on this for Monday. I'm still looking for it to continue to the downside, but some of the other the casino stocks are trying to rally. So MGM Resorts, well, some have started to rally, almost all of them have. When you look at MGM Resorts, you're getting pretty good bullish divergence across the board on all the indicators with this move. There's bullish divergence down here, then it rallies up. So I don't, where is this going to go? What's a good setup? It's not something that I feel comfortable jumping in on at this point. It is interesting to watch, MGM. It could be that it's getting ready to make a lengthier move because it's had a correction, what looks like an ABC type of zigzag correction. The next one is that we're going to look at is Melco Crown Entertainment. It's doing a similar thing, except it's doing a small head and shoulders. And I got this question mark by the Y because, it could be that this is done, not for sure, but we are getting a small head and shoulders. Of course, we are getting bullish divergence like, everybody, all the other casino stocks we're getting. And, but I'm also, this is, you still got the 55 down, the 21 starting to turn, the 10's above the 21. If this is a head and shoulders, then this is the projected move. The thing about this is it's not a big head and shoulders. Okay, this is just small. I mean, it's not projecting a huge move. So it does make me wonder, is this just a setup for a small counter trend move and then it's going to turn back down again? So as you can tell, I'm a little skeptical about taking the positions to the upside. And the last one is WYNN. And I know WYNN, I think all of these have had their earnings come out now. I'm not sure about MGM, but I know WYNN did. And I think it might have been this day when you got this big move up out of here. And then, of course, it came right back down. And then it's, kind of tried to go back up again. Not a solid bullish looking move in here. This was like a little diagonal symmetrical triangle. Looks like a 1, 2, 3, fourth wave sideways, fifth down. We could be, I think we're getting divergence on WYNN too. Oh yeah, we're getting divergence, bullish divergence on WYNN. And so it's trying to turn. And this almost looks like a little pennant consolidation. If that's the case, then this may move this distance. What is this, 170 to like 188? So I don't know, 18 points from here. I mean, we could come up, test this trend line. And this is a downward trend line from up here. It pops up here, tests this trend line and breaks it, then it could be off into, continuing on a bullish mode. But right now, we're just going to have to watch to see, does that happen? Let's look at the moving averages. I mean, the 55 is just broken below the 233. The 21's below the 55, although again, just like the other one, slightly turning. So this looks like a scenario that it's trying to turn, but again, I am skeptical that you could be looking at a simple little bearish counter trend rally. What I mean by that is a rally, counter trend rally in a bear mode, in a bear move. Because so far, and here's a minor trend line that you could put out there. I mean, so far, this has been trending down, lower lows, and you got to take out and switch that scenario to higher highs and higher lows before you say you're in a bull market. But this could be trying to turn. So all the casino stocks have been signaling that they're wanting to turn. It's just a matter of, are they bear market rallies, or are they really going for a new leg to the upside? And I honestly don't have the answer to that. We're just going to have to continue to monitor. So, all right, this has been Joe for Beyond the Chart. That's it for today. We covered a lot. I will be back tomorrow. I'll have to look at the rest of the stocks, see if there's any new trade ideas for Monday, and we'll I'll be back with that tomorrow sometime. So if you felt like the video was helpful, share it on social media. If you're not a subscriber, subscribe. Just click on the little red box here and get the PDF I've got for you. And you get access to the Trade Ideas webpage and notification of when we've got new posts on the website. So, all right, everyone, have a great rest of the weekend and happy November.